Hello everyone, I'm Cloud and welcome to Anime No Mi. Today, continuing with the One Piece videos, we will talk a little about the legendary clan that Luffy is part of. People who have the surname D are people considered very dangerous by celestial dragons, being considered even demons by world nobles. Possibly those with the initial D being the real reason why Sekai Sifo clashed with the Great Kingdom and created the event known as the Void Century. Luffy and his family members have this surname, which is one of the reasons they are recognized as very powerful characters. They are feared all over the world by world nobles, but the reason why they consider the D as demons may not be based on their power. Because as we know, Sekai Sifo and the world nobles are very influential all over the world. They are the ones who decide rules that they will impose on certain things, so they are able to alter history so that everyone believes what they say. In today's video we are going to talk about Luffy's ancestors, those who lived during the Void Century and who somehow managed to erase all knowledge about that time. Hope you can help us by leaving your like in the video to support the channel. I also hope you subscribe if you are still new here and leave your comments saying your opinion and what are the next videos you want to see here on the channel. Now let's go to the video. Guys, the D are very important characters, being the ones who carry the burden of having their past hidden by the leaders of Sekai Sifo. For if these people really know about the true past, apparently something gigantic could happen and destroy the plans of Sekai Sifo and the world nobles. During the Void Century there was no one who controlled all the realms or people who created rules so that everyone had to obey like Sekai Sifo or even the Marines do, so each realm acted on its own. We know that there were 21 kingdoms, one of which was considered the Great Kingdom, a kingdom in which it was feared by all other kingdoms for possibly possessing great powers capable of easily defeating any kingdom they desired. Or maybe this realm did something the other realms disagreed with. What is confirmed is that it was a kingdom larger than all other kingdoms, in size and technology. This Great Kingdom is possibly where those who have the surname D lived. We know that possibly the people of this kingdom had great knowledge about the fruits of the devil and could even be the place of origin of the fruits, because as we mentioned, the other kingdoms feared what they could do with the great power they possessed. We know that even the name of the kingdom has been erased and should not be mentioned. This may indicate some connection with the D. There is a possibility that the people of this kingdom are not the villains of this story as the world nobles have indicated. In the past they could have been just wanting to keep their kingdom safe or getting ready because they imagined that the other kingdoms were getting ready to come into conflict with them through the manipulation done by Ansama or a predecessor who would be manipulating the 20 realms. We know that realm was completely destroyed. Maybe someone convinced the realms that they could be a big threat in the future. We don't know the real motivation, but the 20 kingdoms gathered to destroy the Great Kingdom, and after that they formed an alliance to together control all the kingdoms, being them currently Sekai Sifo. However, Ansama or the ancestral king's real motives may not have been to keep the realms safe, but to obtain some treasure that the Great Kingdom had, or simply to destroy that realm. As everyone knew that the 20 kingdoms would not be able to defeat the Great Kingdom because their individual strength would not be enough to face the great unknown power of that kingdom, they then united to defeat the Great Kingdom. And so it was done. All 20 kingdoms came together and attacked the Great Kingdom, taking the lives of many people who lived there, and possibly the only thing left of the Great Kingdom was the surname that today is inherited by many people who are unaware of the origin of initial D. Furthermore, there is a possibility that those who escaped the great battle created the poneglyphs to tell the whole story and used their greatest powers to manage to keep the great ancient weapons, devil fruits, and their great knowledge away from the 20 realms. This so that the people who were manipulating the 20 kingdoms wouldn't discover the secret that the D have, as well as spreading the devil's fruits around the world. So with no choice, the king of the Great Kingdom, as a last way to prevent the 20 kingdoms from discovering the secrets of the fruits, ancient weapons and all powers, may have used a devil fruit, so that all the history and knowledge of the Great Kingdom be erased. This would cause the kingdoms not to look for the kingdom's survivors, and it would make them fear that the story would be revealed, also preventing them from achieving their goal. After all, whoever reads the story through the indestructible stones would discover the secret of the Great Kingdom, but also discover the evil plan of the 20 kingdoms and what they did to dominate the seas. In the end, the only one who knew the whole truth would be the one who had his name, Joy Boy, who would ensure that everyone could live in peace again, so that no other realm could find the great secret that the Great Kingdom gave his life to protect. So he found an island on which it was impossible for anyone to find, only people who followed the legacy of the D. The island that would be named as Laugh Tale, and for future generations to know the great battle that took place 800 years ago, he created the road poneglyphs that would indicate the place where he hid the greatest treasure in existence, in which he would later be known as One Piece. This treasure being the only piece needed to unravel the great mystery that lies behind this great vast world. After leaving the treasure in Laugh Tale, Joy Boy set out on a quest in which he was never seen again. After the end of all these battles, the 20 kingdoms decided to make a deal in which they would unite to rebuild the world again. But for that it was necessary that the surviving kingdoms kingdoms not talk about this battle and what they did, and then band together to control the sea. We saw for example that Alabasta did not accept to join them after the battle, but they also couldn't speak about the truth to the next generation. Only the Gorosei discover the whole truth. In the end, we know that actually not even all the celestial dragons know about the whole truth. They don't even know that there is one person who controls absolutely everything, Amsama, who is the true leader of the Gorosei. With the union of the realms, the descendants of the leaders of the 20 realms were called celestial dragons, being the direct descendants of 19 of the 20 realms that helped in the creation of Sekai Sifu. As I mentioned, the leaders of Alabasta do not accept to join them. Even so, they have no influence over the world, but their wishes are always met as they can practically do anything they want. But the only ones who have complete control are the Gorosei, who follow M's wishes. After they created the navy, the offensive force of the Sekai Sifu, and the world nobles, they would be the organization that only followed order, having the obligation to defeat and arrest people who do not follow the rules created by Sekai Sifu, aiming to hunt people who cause big problems around the world, as well as following the orders given by Sekai Sifu and the world nobles. So these three organizations work together to be able to carry out orders from whoever was at the top of that organization. That person being Imsama, who after his failed attempt to try to possess the power that is located in the One Piece treasure somehow managed to obtain immortality. Or did he pass his legacy on to the next generation, all this seeking to obtain the power he seeks so much, and his concealment of existence would help him achieve his goals without anyone noticing, because only the Gorosei who are under his command have the knowledge about him, so he doesn't exist for the world nobles. In addition, all the people who had contact with the nobles of the world knew the story that was told about those who had the initial D, where they were called the devil, as well as the fruits of the devil, all this for descending from the great kingdom. This made many people, even without knowing the great kingdom and the history of the void century, to be very afraid of those who had the initial D, not even the people who have this initial knowing about what it means. Accepting these conditions, the world nobles also began to consider people with the initial D in their names as their enemies, for initially they were the great cause for that great battle to take place, or at least they were their enemies in the battle. Years passed and the people who lived during the confrontation against the D were leaving their legacy, while the history of the D was lost, leaving only Amsama as the one who possibly has memories of what happened. But around those long years, he couldn't get any clues about One Piece's location. But he then manages to find a great clue that could lead him to the treasure, a clue that motivated him again to try to get that immeasurable power. He then finds the great straw hat that Joy Boy owned, a hat which motivated him again to find the One Piece, but the clue was still very vague. He just felt that the treasure was still in a place he wouldn't be able to find it one day. With Roger's emergence as the Pirate King, Imsama thought this might be his opportunity to get his hands on this treasure, but Roger didn't take anything from that island. This made Imsama have to wait again for hints that could lead him to One Piece, so he waits for someone who uses the same straw hat as Joy Boy and go D Roger. Or rather, Luffy, being he the possible person who could take him to One Piece, so that after many years his plan was finally completed. Luffy being the one Imsama puts his last chances that would take him to One Piece. But Luffy would also inherit Joy Boy's will to fight the world nobles. But now I want to know about your opinion. Can Luffy be a descendant of the Great Kingdom and have the mission to destroy Sekai Sifu's plans? Comment what you think. Thanks to all of you for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed the content and information in today's video. We hope that we will always continue together talking about the news of the anime and the manga, so comment your doubts, news, or what you think will happen in the anime in the future. Also comment on the new videos you want to see here on the channel. We'll see you again in the next video. I'll wait for you here. Bye.